from my findings, it is very clear and unambiguous to state that with the level at which the seat at home is taking sway of the entire eastern region, it presupposes, of course, that Nigerian nation or Nigerian state or government has lost its total hold or grip over the entire region. And this, of course, spells doom for the Nigerian state, saying that people are no longer interested in the project called Nigeria. And with the following development, of course, as a result of the 2023 elections, where people's um, expectations were dashed, totally dashed, and they have lost. Of course, more than 90% of those who participated in the election, some which tore their international passport, Nigerian international passports, and some who do not have passport has lost confidence or trust in the Nigerian electoral process, and as such, does not, of course, see any prospect of future uh, prospects in the Nigerian state, and possibly could join, of course, the agitation for the secession of the Biafran state, and which I believe is within their internationally recognized right or fundamental right as enshrined in the United Nations Charter of, on people's right, of course, to self-determination. And seeing that this sit at home extended for 7 days, have clamped and crippled the entire economic activities within this state, and not even the security operatives are found on the streets of the nook and crannies. Of course, based on my observations and findings, I, I thought through, of course, several cities or towns, and not citing any security operatives there. That presupposes that everybody is throwing in the towel to this quest for the restoration of the Biafran state, and is gaining more momentum. And I must tell you that possibly the next move or the next sit at home could be the declaration of the Biafran state by these pro Biafran agitators. And being that the demands is that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has been under illegal incarceration or detention under DSS dungeons or facility, even after the overwhelming verdict that was given on the 13th of October 2022 by the Appellate Court of Nigerian jurisdiction, discharging and acquitting Mazen Nandekan over the count allegations or counter allegations or charges levied against him bordering on terrorism and other crimes, related crimes. But then he was acquitted and discharged by the same appellate court, of course, within the Nigerian sovereignty. And unfortunately, the executive or the same Nigerian refused to respect its own verdict from its own court. Several verdicts have been given. Of course, international Continental Tribunal has also given the verdict that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB should be allowed to exercise their fundamental rights and should not, in any disguise, of course, be subjugated or pressed in any sense. And to this end, the Nigerian government is yet to comply with the directives of this hallowed judge, of course, jurisdictions. It's quite unfortunate, but this has rather fueled, of course, more agitation spike across this eastern region to the end that instead of the Monday's sit at home, it has been extended till 7 days or more, And this is not a good omen, of course, for the Nigerians that failed to understand the handwriting on the wall. And this is a clear indication that the territorial integrity of the um, eastern region or the Biafran, the front Biafrans is almost at 70% under the control of the Biafran or the pro-Biafran agitators. And this, of course, will spell a doom for the Nigerian state, mean that these people are dead devils and they're ready to defend themselves at all costs because they believe in what they profess, and what they profess is an ideology that is inherited and transferred to them, which cannot be conquered by any uh, lesser ideology, which of they believe that this is a superior ideology, the preservation of their cultural inheritance or heritage and that of their posterity is paramount to them. It needs be, of course, laying down their life for to achieve this. They consider that as an honor. Then how could you fight a determined warrior, soldier? I mean, volunteer soldiers who are willing, of course, to pay the ultimate price for this cause to be actualized. Well, that's a question I think the Nigerians should have a review of their stance and consider adhering. This is not just a mere, of course, a clemency of compensation or considerations. What they are demanding is that they should adhere to the rules of law or the verdicts of the courts of higher jurisdiction within the Nigerian state that have acquitted and set their own man free. And they are not happy with the continued torture, detention, and incarceration of their leader, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who, of course, have declared that he has crossed the Rubicon and there is no turning back, of course, in the course of actualization of the Biafran sovereignty, as he has rightly maintained that he coming out from the DSS dungeon would be, of course, raising the Biafran flag. Of course, many people has gained, of course, interest in this Biafran struggle in the most recent times, especially with the recent developments across the Nigerian states, and where people, especially the people predominantly regions, and of course, other Easterners have been maltreated in the various places of abroad, and this has given more momentum to this quest for a nation that should, of course, uh, identify them as and give them sense of belonging and give them equal opportunity to strive and aspire to become whatever they think and develop at their own pace, not being, of course, restricted by several enactions tailored, of course, or sponsored to limit their capability and the possibility of advancing or enhancing in life. To this end, well, let's continue to watch and see what happens. But the reality is that INEC have totally failed. Well, an apology will not mean anything for the Nigerian people. What they're expecting is, of course, justice to be done, but with this set of crop of persons within the corridor of power allow such to happen, well, that remains uh, the endless rhetorics. But then I believe that people are not giving in. Rather, they are just waiting patiently to hear from the judges' declaration of position, whether they will contradict the position of the electoral law, of course, to pave way for their supposed choice one. But only time will reveal what happens next. Possibly, I believe that even though if P2B is declared the winner, that wouldn't stop the restoration of the Biafran state. and that won't in any way pacify those agitators who has thrown in their all, of course, and then is willing to risk everything to get just the Biafran, which they believe is the kingdom of God on earth and is the fulfillment of that God given mandate to the Biafrans as rightly maintained. Well, let's watch and see how this will continue to unfold. But my major concern is that humanity must be preserved. We cannot continue in such a abysmal decline and building a society we do not desire to have only because we want to protect and project common interests. Well, a society where everybody has a sense of belonging, where everybody's voice matters and opinions, of course, is upheld, and everyone is given the right, the opportunity, the equal opportunity to excel and aspire in his or her chosen career. I think that is an egalitarian society where the rights of the citizens are protected and preserved. Otherwise, it is total distortion of what humanity represents.